Most men over 60 don't realize it, but what's in your wine glass could be the very thing keeping you soft in bed. And here's the shocker. The right wines, yes, wines, can actually help you get rock hard again. I'm not talking about wishful thinking or some feel-good myth. I'm talking about 5 specific wines that can increase blood flow, boost your testosterone, and bring back the kind of natural, lasting erections you haven't felt in years. My name is Dr. Mohit Kara. I'm a board-certified urologist with over 3 decades of experience helping older men reclaim their vitality, their confidence, and their ability to perform without pills, pumps, or surgery. And what I'm about to share with you today may completely change how you look at wine for the rest of your life. You see, most men believe that alcohol kills erections, and in many cases, they're right, but that's only half the story. What they don't know is that certain wines, rich in powerful compounds like resveratrol and flavonoids, can actually fuel the very systems that drive sexual performance. And when used the right way, they can naturally restore what age has taken away. In this video, I'll reveal the 5 types of wine every man over 60 should know about. I'll tell you how they work, how often to drink them, and how they can help you wake up every morning with the kind of confidence you thought was gone for good. And before we finish, I'll uncover one wine you must avoid, because it could be silently killing your erections from the inside out. Before we dive into the wines that can reignite your performance, take a moment to subscribe and tap the bell icon. That way, you'll never miss out on health advice designed specifically for men over 60. And if this video speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me make these messages even better for you. Alright, now let's get into the real substance, starting with the very first wine on our list. It's not just popular at dinner tables. It's actually one of the most powerful natural tools for improving blood flow, relaxing your arteries, and helping you achieve firmer, longer-lasting erections. If you're over 60 and struggling with sluggish circulation, this wine could become your new best friend. Let's talk about Pinot Noir. 1. Pinot Noir, the heart saver and blood flow booster. I still remember the first time a patient in his mid-60s looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I'm starting to feel invisible in my own bedroom." His voice was steady, but I could hear the shame tucked behind his words. He had tried pills, supplements, even those late-night TV products, but nothing seemed to bring back the erections he once had. That was when I introduced him to something completely unexpected, Pinot Noir. He blinked and asked, "You're telling me wine will help me get hard again?" I smiled. Not just any wine, Pinot Noir. It's not magic, it's science. And here's why it matters. Pinot Noir is one of the richest natural sources of a compound called resveratrol, which has a unique effect on the aging male body. As men get older, the blood vessels responsible for directing flow to the penis become stiff, inflamed, and narrow. This poor circulation is one of the top reasons erections weaken over time. Resveratrol helps by triggering a process called vasodilation, relaxing and widening blood vessels, so that blood can move freely and fully into the areas where you need it most. When blood can't get to your penis quickly and with enough pressure, you might get soft halfway through or struggle to get firm in the first place. That's not a lack of desire, that's a lack of circulation. And Pinot Noir steps in like a silent partner, helping your body open those pathways naturally without medication. What makes Pinot Noir stand out from other wines is its thin-skinned grape. It grows in cooler climates and doesn't produce as much sugar, which means it offers a lighter, purer wine with a high concentration of polyphenols, but without the overload of sugar or alcohol that can backfire on your hormone levels. You're getting vascular support without hormonal disruption, and that's key for older men who are already fighting declining testosterone. When my patient added just 1 glass of Pinot Noir to his evening routine, alongside dinner, within a few weeks, he began noticing firmer morning erections. He told me, "It feels like my body is waking up again." And that's exactly what this wine can help do. Wake up your circulation, gently and consistently, so that erections come more naturally, feel more full, and stay longer. But let me be clear, moderation is everything. We're talking about 1 glass, around 5 ounces, 3 to 4 nights per week. Go beyond that, and you cross a line where alcohol starts doing more harm than good, especially to your liver and testosterone. This isn't about drinking more, it's about drinking smarter. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, it can't be that simple, just a glass of wine. Well, the truth is, simplicity is often overlooked. We live in a world of quick fixes and miracle cures, but the body doesn't respond to chaos. It responds to consistency. A small action, repeated with intention, can have a powerful effect. Pinot Noir is one of those small actions. And if you're someone who's been avoiding wine entirely because of what you heard about alcohol and ED, let me say this: not all alcohol is created equal. While excessive drinking will absolutely harm your performance, targeted, intelligent use of wines like Pinot Noir can actually become part of your natural sexual health strategy. Over time, as circulation improves and inflammation goes down, you may even find that you respond faster to arousal, feel more sensitive to touch, and regain some of the spontaneity that used to feel out of reach. That's what I want for you, not just function, but freedom. The freedom to feel like yourself again, to enjoy intimacy without fear, to show up for your partner with confidence and energy. Now, if Pinot Noir is the foundation, the quiet builder of blood flow, then the next wine on our list brings a different kind of strength to the table. It doesn't just help your body move blood, it protects the very hormone that fuels your desire, drive, and masculine energy. You might be surprised by which wine it is. And even more surprised at how it works. Let's keep going. If you're still here and these insights are resonating with you, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments. It lets me know you're engaged and taking this seriously. Now, let's move on to the second wine that could help reignite your performance. Here too, Cabernet Sauvignon, the testosterone defender. A few years ago, I met a man named Harold, 68 years old, retired Navy. He was disciplined, proud, and sharp as a tack, but when it came to intimacy, he had hit a wall. He sat across from me, leaned in, and asked, "Doc, is my testosterone gone for good?" His wife was still affectionate, but he admitted that his energy had vanished, his desire was fading, and worst of all, his erections had become unreliable and weak. "I just don't feel like a man anymore," he said. I could see the frustration in his face, and I told him what I'm about to tell you now. If you're over 60 and struggling with weaker erections, low energy, or a flatlining sex drive, your testosterone might not be gone, but it sure needs defending. And that's where Cabernet Sauvignon comes in. This isn't just a bold red wine with a dry finish. Cabernet is rich in flavonoids and polyphenols like quercetin, which science has shown can reduce oxidative stress in the testicles, especially the Leydig cells, which are the exact cells responsible for producing testosterone in men. As we age, those cells become damaged by inflammation, toxins, and poor circulation. Slowly, quietly, your testosterone dips, and with it goes your erection strength, your desire, and your drive. What Cabernet does is act like a bodyguard for those precious cells. It reduces the inflammation that breaks them down, improves the blood flow that nourishes them, and helps your body naturally hold on to the testosterone it still knows how to make. It's not about giving you more testosterone, it's about protecting the engine so it doesn't shut down. Harold added half a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon to his routine 3 nights a week, always with a balanced dinner, plenty of greens, lean protein, a little olive oil. After 6 weeks, he looked me in the eye again and said, "It's working. I feel that internal spark again. My mornings are different, and I've started initiating again. I didn't realize how much of myself I had lost." That spark he was describing? That's testosterone returning to balance. And that's what gives your erections that full, confident quality. Not forced, not fragile, but firm and natural. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Wine alone won't replace testosterone if your levels are dangerously low. But for the vast majority of men I've worked with, the issue isn't that they have none. It's that their environment is damaging what little they have left. Processed food, poor sleep, medications, alcohol abuse, and chronic stress chip away at your masculine chemistry. That's why Cabernet Sauvignon can be a powerful ally. When used in moderation and alongside healthy habits, it becomes more than a drink. It becomes part of your defense strategy. And remember, moderation is the key. Just like Pinot Noir, Cabernet needs to be respected. One small glass, 2 or 3 nights per week, is all it takes to gain the benefits without the hormonal backlash. Drink too much, and you suppress the very testosterone you're trying to protect. And here's a little tip. Pair your Cabernet with zinc-rich foods like beef, pumpkin seeds, or spinach. Zinc is essential for testosterone production, and when combined with the antioxidant properties of this wine, you create a powerful synergy that supports both hormone health and erectile function. I know many of you may have spent years feeling like your best days are behind you, like the intimacy you once enjoyed has quietly slipped away. But I promise you, it's not too late. There are ways to wake the body back up, to bring strength and vitality back to your relationship, to feel proud of the man you see in the mirror again. Cabernet Sauvignon may not be a magic potion, but it can absolutely help restore your edge, help make your erections stronger, your arousal more natural, and your connection more meaningful. Now, if Pinot Noir helps restore blood flow and Cabernet protects your testosterone, the next wine on our list takes a different approach. It works in the tiniest blood vessels, deep in the capillaries of the pelvic region, to improve how quickly and powerfully you respond to arousal. It's a wine most men have never tried, but it could be the missing link in your journey back to rock-hard performance. Let's talk about that next. 3. Blueberry wine. The secret circulation weapon. There's a wine most men over 60 have never even heard of, let alone tasted. It's not found on the typical restaurant menu, and you probably won't see it on the shelf next to your usual reds. But make no mistake, this wine holds one of the most powerful keys to restoring strong, full erections in older men. It's called blueberry wine, and for the right man, it can be a complete game changer. I first recommended it to a patient named Tom. He was 72, diabetic, and had been struggling with weak erections for nearly a decade. Pills weren't helping anymore, and deep down, he was starting to believe his sex life was over. When I mentioned blueberry wine, he looked at me like I was joking. "You mean like from fruit, not grapes?" I nodded, yes. And that fruit holds a secret. You see, blueberries are packed with natural compounds called anthocyanins, which are a type of flavonoid. These compounds don't just float around in your system. They go to work on your smallest blood vessels, your capillaries, and improve what's called endothelial function. That's the lining of your blood vessels, the part that expands to let blood in quickly and powerfully. When that lining gets stiff or damaged, as it often does with age, diabetes, or high blood pressure, the blood doesn't reach your penis with enough pressure to create a firm erection. You might feel desire, but your body can't physically deliver. What makes blueberry wine special is its concentration of those anthocyanins. When consumed in moderation, it promotes microcirculation, especially in the pelvic region, where healthy blood flow is essential for maintaining an erection that lasts. Now, I'm not saying this wine will replace medication or reverse decades of damage overnight, but for men like Tom, men whose biggest problem isn't testosterone but blood flow, it can be a turning point. After 4 weeks of drinking a small glass of blueberry wine, 3 times a week, usually with dinner, Tom came back to my office with a quiet smile. He didn't say much at first. He just nodded and said, "Things are better, Doc. I didn't think I'd get that back." That's the moment I live for as a doctor, because behind those few words is a world of change, not just physically, but emotionally. The return of self-respect, the return of confidence, the kind of quiet dignity that comes from feeling like your body is still working with you, not against you. If you're over 60 and dealing with poor circulation, erectile difficulties, or just a lack of consistency in your performance, blueberry wine might be exactly what your body needs. Just half a glass a few nights a week is enough to support vascular function, and if you're watching your blood sugar, go for a dry blueberry wine with no added sweeteners. It's worth hunting down at a specialty store or ordering online because this isn't about the drink. It's about what that drink makes possible. To maximize its effects, Pair it with foods high in natural nitrates like beets or leafy greens. These help increase nitric oxide, the molecule that signals your blood vessels to expand, giving you stronger, fuller erections when the moment calls for it. And remember, circulation is everything. Without it, desire has nowhere to go. But when blood flows freely, everything else begins to fall into place. Sensation, arousal, confidence, even pleasure. Blueberry wine isn't just a secret. It's a quiet weapon in the fight against age-related decline, one that works gently but powerfully if you give it time and respect. Now, if blueberry wine works at the smallest level, improving your capillaries and vessel lining, the next wine tackles a much bigger issue, one that affects almost every older man I speak to: chronic, low-grade inflammation. It's the silent killer of intimacy, and most men don't even know they're dealing with it. But this next wine, it has the power to cool that fire and help restore the calm, clear energy you need to perform. Let's keep going. 4. Rosé wine, the anti-inflammatory ally. If you're like most men over 60, there's a good chance you've never taken rosé wine seriously. Maybe you've thought of it as something light, sweet, or not exactly masculine. You wouldn't be alone, but let me tell you a story that changed my own perspective on this overlooked powerhouse. A few years ago, I had a patient named Frank. He was 71, a retired construction foreman with a thick handshake and a no-nonsense attitude. He came to see me after months of struggling with what he called incomplete performance. He said, "Doc, I can start the engine, but I can't keep it running. It's frustrating, and honestly, it's embarrassing." His blood work showed borderline blood sugar issues, some mild prostate inflammation, and slightly elevated CRP levels, which meant one thing: systemic inflammation. Now, inflammation might sound like just a buzzword, but for men like Frank, it's one of the most stubborn enemies of sexual health. It narrows blood vessels, disrupts hormone signaling, and makes it harder for the body to respond to arousal. And over time, it chips away at your ability to achieve and maintain strong, dependable erections. So I recommended something surprising. I told him to try a glass of dry rosé wine 3 or 4 nights a week with a clean meal. Lots of greens, lean protein, healthy fats. He raised an eyebrow and said, "Rosé? Really?" Yes, really. What Frank didn't know, and what most men miss, is that rosé, especially when made from grapes like Grenache or Syrah, contains powerful plant-based compounds called polyphenols that have anti-inflammatory effects. These compounds help calm the body's internal fires, allowing your blood vessels to relax and carry more oxygen-rich blood where it's needed most, including the penis. Rosé also tends to have lower alcohol content compared to heavier reds, which means it supports vascular health without interfering with testosterone the way stronger alcohols can. After about a month, Frank came back and told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I didn't think it was doing anything at first, but then I noticed I wasn't waking up as stiff and sore. And then one night, things just worked. No stress, no panic, it just happened." He paused and smiled. That hasn't happened in years. You see, when you reduce inflammation in the body, everything starts to function more smoothly. Your arteries stop constricting, your heart pumps more efficiently, and the small vessels in your pelvic region become more responsive. Erections, which once felt like a struggle, can begin to happen more naturally and more often. Rosé doesn't force the issue. It sets the stage for your body to work the way it used to, without pushing or forcing. Of course, as with any wine, moderation matters. You don't need more than a glass at a time. It's not about drinking for pleasure, though that's a nice bonus. It's about drinking with intention. You're using nature to support your body, not escape from it. If you've been dealing with joint pain, low-grade fatigue, poor recovery, or inconsistent performance in the bedroom, there's a good chance inflammation is playing a role. And this wine, often overlooked because of its color or sweetness, could be exactly what your system needs to settle down, rebalance, and function again. Pairing rosé with foods that fight inflammation, like salmon, olive oil, or dark leafy greens, only amplifies its effects. And taking a walk after your evening meal can help move blood, regulate blood sugar, and support the very improvements you're aiming for. It's all about building small habits that compound into real change. Frank didn't just feel better. His relationship improved. His confidence returned. He said it best. "I stopped worrying if I could perform. I just started living again." Now, if Rosé is the quiet fixer, the wine that works behind the scenes to remove what's holding you back, then the next wine is a more direct weapon. It's bold, targeted, and infused with one of the most potent natural ingredients for sexual performance. This final wine not only boosts blood flow, but actively strengthens the foundation of your erections in real time. Most men haven't even heard of it, but once you do, you'll wonder why it's not in every man's routine. Let's talk about it. 5. Red wine infused with olive leaf extract, the erectile elixir. Sometimes the most powerful solutions come from unexpected places. I remember working with a patient named Walter, 66, who had tried everything. He'd cleaned up his diet, added light exercise, even tried the typical medications for erectile dysfunction. But still, nothing felt consistent. He told me, "I can get there sometimes, but it never lasts. I feel like I'm always fighting for it." That sense of frustration is something I hear far too often from men over 60. And for many of them, the issue isn't just blood flow or testosterone, it's deeper, rooted in how their body handles stress, blood pressure, and arterial health. That's when I introduced Walter to something he'd never considered: a bold red wine, carefully infused with olive leaf extract. He laughed at first. Olive leaves? In wine? But after I explained the science behind it, he was the one asking where to find it. Here's why it matters. Olive leaf extract contains a powerful compound called oleuropein, which has been studied for its ability to lower blood pressure, improve arterial flexibility, and most importantly, increase nitric oxide production. And as you've heard me say before, nitric oxide is the gas pedal for your erections. It signals your blood vessels to open, to let blood rush where it's needed. And without it, everything slows down. What makes this particular wine so effective is the synergy. You're combining the vascular support of red wine, rich in resveratrol and polyphenols, with the artery-relaxing, blood pressure-lowering power of olive leaf. It's like feeding your body two forms of natural medicine at once. For men dealing with high blood pressure, sluggish circulation, or even mild erectile dysfunction, this combination can be transformative. Walter started sipping a small glass of this infused wine 3 times a week, always with food, and never more than 5 ounces at a time. Within a month, he told me something had changed, not just physically, but emotionally. He said, "It's not just that I can get hard, it's that I'm not worried anymore. My body feels like it's back on my side." That sense of trust in your own body is priceless, and I believe every man deserves to experience it. This wine is especially valuable for men whose erections tend to fade quickly, or who struggle to sustain firmness during intimacy. Because of its nitric oxide-enhancing effects and blood pressure-lowering properties, it supports not just the beginning of an erection, but helps maintain it. Your arteries stay open longer, your pelvic muscles receive more oxygen, and you feel more in control. Now, this kind of wine isn't always easy to find in a typical grocery store. Sometimes it's sold as a specialty blend, or you might need to add a drop or two of high-quality olive leaf extract to your regular red wine. Either way, the goal is the same: to give your body an edge. A natural, side-effect-free boost that works in harmony with your biology. I do recommend choosing a dry red as the base, ideally one with low sugar and a high concentration of polyphenols, such as Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah. The less sugar and the more antioxidants, the more effective the result. And just like with the other wines we've talked about, moderation is key. More doesn't mean better. 1 small glass, a few times a week, is enough. What I love most about this wine is that it feels like a quiet revolution. No pills, no pressure, just a smarter, older man making better choices and watching his body respond with strength and vitality he thought he'd lost for good. And if you're thinking, can wine really make this much of a difference? The answer is yes, if you know what you're doing. But remember, the wine itself is only part of the equation. What you eat with it, when you drink it, and how you live around it, those factors make all the difference. So now that you know which wines to drink, let me show you how to maximize their effect on your erections. There are simple, powerful habits that can turn a small glass of wine into a full-body transformation. And most men are skipping them without even realizing it. Let's talk about those next. 6. Bonus tips to maximize wine's effect on erections. Drinking the right wine can absolutely change how your body performs. But if you want real, long-lasting results, the kind that actually show up in the bedroom, you need to support that glass with the right habits. I've seen this firsthand, time and time again. 2 men can drink the same wine, but one sees incredible improvement in his erections while the other notices nothing at all. The difference? What he does around that wine. Let me share what I've learned from decades of working with men just like you. These small adjustments don't just enhance the benefits, they unlock them. First, never drink wine on an empty stomach. Your body processes wine differently when there's food in your system. Eating a balanced meal, rich in healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, or nuts, helps stabilize your blood sugar, reduce insulin spikes, and actually improves how wine interacts with your blood vessels. When paired with the right foods, a glass of wine isn't just a drink. It becomes a tool for nourishing your vascular system. Second, movement matters. A 15-minute walk after your evening meal, especially after your wine, can dramatically improve circulation. It gets your blood flowing, helps process the antioxidants in the wine, and supports nitric oxide production. I had one patient, James, tell me, "I started doing a slow walk after dinner and wine like you said, and now I wake up with firmness I hadn't felt in years." That's not a fluke. That's biology doing what it's designed to do, once you give it the right environment. Hydration is another piece men often overlook. Alcohol is a diuretic, and when you're dehydrated, your blood gets thicker, your circulation slows, and your body struggles to deliver nutrients where they're needed, especially to your pelvic region. For every glass of wine you drink, follow it with a full glass of water. This one simple habit can protect your liver, maintain hormone balance, and ensure that the wine you're drinking works for your erections, not against them. Then there's sleep. If your sleep is broken, shallow, or too short, your testosterone production takes a direct hit. Testosterone is primarily made during deep sleep, and poor sleep robs you of that essential hormone. So if you're enjoying wine in the evening, keep it to 1 glass, and avoid drinking too close to bedtime. That way, your body can fully recover, your hormones can reset, and your erectile function can continue to improve naturally. Another powerful tip: combine wine with foods that are high in natural nitrates, such as beets, spinach, and arugula. These vegetables enhance your nitric oxide levels, which complements the blood vessel relaxing effects of the wine. I've seen men in their late 60s who made this one change, adding a small beet salad to dinner a few nights a week, and they reported stronger, more frequent erections without changing anything else. And lastly, be consistent. This is the part most men skip. They try something once or twice, then decide it didn't work, but your body isn't a switch. It's a system. It responds to patterns. If you stick to the wines I've shared with you, apply these bonus tips, and give your body a few weeks to adapt, you'll be amazed at the changes you can experience. I'm not just talking about erections. I'm talking about energy, mood, confidence, and the feeling of having your body back under your control. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself at this stage of life is the belief that improvement is still possible, because it is, and wine, when used wisely, can be part of that transformation. It's about using pleasure as medicine, and when done right, it doesn't just restore performance, it revives passion. Now that you know the wines, and now that you know how to make them work even better, there's only one thing left to talk about: the real reason this matters, because behind every glass, every habit, every improvement, there's something deeper driving it all. Let's finish this together, and I'll tell you what that is. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, I want to take a moment to thank you. not just for watching, but for choosing to invest in your health, your confidence, and your future. As a doctor who spent over 30 years working with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, I've seen how easy it is to give up, to accept decline as inevitable, to believe that intimacy, strength, and pleasure are things that belong in the past. But I'm here to remind you, they're not. Not if you're willing to take a different approach. Not if you're open to giving your body what it truly needs. We've talked about 5 powerful wines today. Wines that aren't just for celebration or relaxation, they're tools for transformation. Pinot Noir, the rich, heart-supporting wine that brings blood back to where it's needed. Cabernet Sauvignon, the bold defender of your testosterone. Blueberry wine, a hidden gem that revives your capillaries and reawakens your responsiveness. Rosé, the anti-inflammatory ally that reduces the friction in your system and restores smooth, steady function. And finally, red wine infused with olive leaf extract, the bold elixir that opens your arteries and strengthens your erections from the inside out. We added to that a series of habits: pairing wine with nutrient-rich meals, walking after dinner, staying hydrated, sleeping well, and being consistent. These are small changes, but together they create something powerful. They create momentum. And momentum, especially at this stage of life, is everything. I'll leave you with this. Erections are not just about sex. They're about vitality. They're about circulation, confidence, energy, and connection. They're about waking up in the morning and knowing that your body still works. That your age doesn't define your ability to feel pleasure, give love, or enjoy life fully. That spark you once had, it's not gone. It's just waiting for the right conditions to return. So tonight, maybe you pour yourself a small glass of one of these wines. You sit down with your partner. You eat something nourishing. You take a walk after dinner. You make that quiet decision, not to fight your body, but to work with it. And over time, you just might be surprised by how much strength is still in you. Your best years aren't behind you. In many ways, they're just beginning. So take that first step. Trust the process. And remember, the path to rock-hard erections after 60 might just begin with what you pour into your glass.